Hi everybody, it's Lee from Andertons TV here, and today it is my massive pleasure to be interviewing a chap called Joey Landreth from an amazing band called the Bros Landreth, and you're over in the UK touring at the moment. So tell us a little bit about the band and you know, what you're going to do over in the UK and the vibe, and if people are interested in hearing the music, you know, what are they going to, what kind of vibe is it?
Yeah, the band is it's my brother and I. We're both sort of sidemen on the Canadian scene for quite a number of years, and well, the entire length of both of our careers as musicians. And the band was just sort of born when my brother and I had an idea to try to write some tunes together, just because, you know, we needed an excuse to hang out, and it very quickly became our main gig. And it's kind of, you know, in the U.S. we kind of fit underneath the Americana umbrella, and in Canada it's not really recognized as a genre, so we're just kind of a roots band in Canada. But it's basically, I kind of, when people ask us like what the vibe of the band is, I usually say it's like if you flip through like the first 15 records in my parents' record pile, that's kind of what we are. So a lot of Little Feat, some John Hyatt, and
yeah,
we love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Little Steely Dan, little Robin Ford, little Sonny Landreth, who we're not related to at all, but just because of the namesake, grew up listening to him a lot, and he played on our dad's record in the '90s. So he's kind of.
Your dad was a musician as well, was he?
That's right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and so Sonny was always just sort of like a hero in the household. It was like that you know. Legend of the time that Sonny came and played on Dad's record, and it's famous in our house. I
mean, I said to you before, it's sort of summer of 2015. I get this email from one of the sales reps. You know, we all share, you know, music that we love, and he's like, "You've got the new band. You're gonna love this band like that." So of course I'm downloading the Let It Lie album, and I'm sort of listening, just going, this is incredible, and then it went like wildfire through all the guitar community that I know. Everyone's awesome. And it was, I don't know, I mean, I suppose when I heard it, I guess it reminded me of kind of like a sort of a laid back, more relaxed kind of Black Crowes-y kind of vibe.
Cool.
And there's, you know, instant comparisons to perhaps some of the sort of more countrified John Mayer stuff that was happening sort of recently. So I mean, serious, you know, like proper guitar band stuff. But you were saying that the album's actually not that new, you know, which is kind of, so it freaked me out a bit that you know, no one had kind of, we'd only really discovered you 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the record came out in Canada independently in September of 2013, and yeah, it just sort of took us a while to get it around. I mean, we released it on our own in Canada first, and then we kind of went. We got to a point where we had done a couple tours in Canada. We toured the West, we toured the East a little bit. We were like, well, where do we go next? Well, we should do what every Canadian band does. We should go to Nashville and have our hearts broken and come back with our tails between our legs and get back to work. And we went down for 3 days. Some friends helped us set up a couple showcases, and we came back with a record deal, which was not what we were planning at all. So it was kind of like you know, this is not how this works, but we'll take it. So then we released the record properly in the U.S. and with our record deal in the U.S. came. They also released it in the UK and Ireland.
Yeah.
And then so they staggered the release a little bit later. So it's just kind of like step by step, the records just continue to get pushed. Like, oh, we got to tour another place, and we're doing Australia next month. So it's just like, you know, by the time it's the record that never ends, really.
Well, and it's got that lovely timeless kind of feel to it as well. I think that I don't really listen to it and think to myself, oh yeah, that's kind of. You know, that's cool now, but maybe in 2 years' time.
Oh, thank you.
It's got that it's just, for me, it's going to be one of those albums that I think I could just carry on listening to over and over.
Well, it works out in our benefit then, I guess. We
absolutely.
Keep doing it. No, it's brand new. Yeah.
So look, when did you first pick up a guitar then? Because I mean, you're still a wee whippersnapper, aren't you? I mean, you haven't even hit the big 3-0 yet, have you?
Not yet. And
almost. I mean, you got some skills, and so where did that all kind of come from?
Well, I grew up in a really musical household. My dad's side of the family is all musical. My dad was a touring musician when we were growing up. So there's always music around, lots of music on the stereo, and guitars and pianos and basses and harmonicas and stuff like that growing up. So I picked up a guitar for the first time when I was 8.
Right.
And started taking some lessons with my dad.
Just an old acoustic guitar, or what was it?
No, my first guitar was actually a Telecaster that he found a friend of his found in a dumpster.
Brilliant.
It was a garbage guitar, had some broken tuning pegs, needed some love, so my dad fixed it up. And
is that why you've ended up playing slide? Because that first guitar probably had an action on it. It's kind of like this. It was like nothing you could do but play slide.
Yeah, no, what actually is kind of funny is that, I should say my first guitar I had when I was a really little kid, and it was a tenor guitar, and at that point my hands were too small, and so my dad gave me an old bushing from a semi-truck or something like that, and just said, here, fart around with this. And so there's pictures of me playing slide guitar with the slide on my index finger as like a 4 or 5 year old kid. I wasn't actually playing, I was just noodling. But so there's a bit of foreshadowing there, I guess. But I didn't start playing slide until, seriously playing slide until about 5 years ago.
Right. Oh, really?
And it was just kind of like, I've always gone through like phases as a guitar player. Like I was really, really into fusion for a long time. So like Weather Report and
I thought you meant like as in like some sort of metal fusion, and I suddenly had this thing of like going, I can't imagine him with a gigantic hair and spandex like double tapping. Different fusion. So and then I just kind of I took that as far as my interest could take me, and I was playing in a lot of country bands as well, and just sort of like one day I started noodling around with the slide, and it really kind of spoke to me, and I eventually I transitioned into open tunings. I was about to say, is that the slide came first and then the open tunings as a result of that, right?
Yeah, I started playing in open tunings because in standard tuning, this lick, is really hard to do. Like you end up having to go across like 4 frets.
What are you in now? C, open C.
Open C, but it's like the same as open E, the same
right.
Like 1 5 1 3 5 1. But absolutely everything else in this tuning is much harder. like nothing else translates except for. So
it's worth it though, just for that one.
It really is, because otherwise you're going like, I mean, how do you? It's not. It just doesn't have the same feel. But yeah, so that's kind of where that came from, and I was carting around guitars, like one in standard, one in open tuning for a long time, and I just got tired of it. So I eventually started taking open tuned guitars to more and more gigs as I felt more comfortable with the tuning.
Okay.
Until eventually I just didn't need the standard tuned guitar. It was comfy enough in the tuning that I could get by.
I was going to say on the open tuning thing, because if you don't have now a guitar that's in standard tuning, I guess you don't do the whole set for Bros Landreth on one open tuning, though, do you? Or it's the whole thing. I
now have a guitar in C and I have a guitar in D.
And the other guitarist just has the same tuning, or are you able to sort of kind of?
Ariel is a standard tune guitar guy, but he from time to time will play. He's quite proficient in open tuning as well. So like certain songs, sometimes if we're doing a hometown gig, he'll bring a rack of guitars. Right. When we're traveling, we both just travel with two guitars.
How do you share the duties then? Is one of you kind of there isn't really like a rhythm and lead guitarist?
No, we just kind of switch off, and I mean certain tunes where they've just kind of progressed, where might be a song where I did most of the soloing, and then all of a sudden, one night we were just feeling it, and so I threw it over to him, and it was like you should play that one. You should play that one. So I mean it's kind of sort of developed into its own thing.
Is it quite a rigid? Is the sort of solo format quite a sort of, you always play the same solo for every song, or are you kind of just going, look, I'm just going to feel it and see where it goes?
Some of them are totally open-ended, and some of them are songs like Let It Lie, and Made Up Mind and stuff like that. I'll play the solos note for note for those
Made Up
ones.
Mind was on my first listen, Made Up Mind was the one that just went, but just a stellar track. And then kind of like you listen to it over and over, and some of there's certainly "Let It Lie" is a beautiful song. There's a couple of other growers on there. But if you're just a fan of killer guitar playing, and I mean in a kind of like a bluesy country way, not like in a Steve Vai sort of way. Yeah, Made Up Mind is such a track.
Oh, thank you. It's
a great tune. Look, let's nerd out, and
let's do it.
Let's just nerd out, because I love seeing these kind of guitars that have obviously come together for a reason and have ended up being quite different to like a stock off the shelf guitar.
Yeah.
So this is number one, is it? This is the weapon of choice.
This is number one right now. There's always it kind of trades off between the other guitar that I tour with, which I at some point should take show you.
Absolutely.
But this is number one right now, and this was like there's a friend of mine owns a guitar shop in Saskatoon, Canada, and called Village Guitar and Amps, and it's also a great venue.
Yeah.
And one day we were in there playing, and I saw this on the wall, and it didn't have this scratch plate on it, but it had these Goldfoil pickups in it, and I'm a big Rycooter fan, and Rycooter is a massive proponent for or user of this pickup, this particular
and
Tiesco.
Is this a single coil pickup or a humbucker, or what is it? Who knows?
Yeah, single coil. They're kind of they're a little bit.
No, this one.
This one is single coil.
So how does your switching work then?
This is silly.
I see. Because I'm going. Hang on, he's not on the front pickup, but you obviously know your guitar better than I do.
So this is the neck pickup, and then this is the middle between the two. Bridge pickup, and then this is half out of phase. And then this is with a bass dump on the neck pickup.
Sounds great.
So this was I saw it on Twitter on maybe Premier Guitar or something.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said take your two pickup guitar and make it kind of sound like a Strat. And on this guitar, it doesn't actually really sound like a Strat at all. Just I think the baritone strings. I mean maybe. Maybe a little bit, but it's just kind of.
You don't have that sort of go-to, back pickup for your sort of solo-y kind of thing. You've obviously got to be fairly careful with that, haven't you?
It's kind of a pain in the ass, to be honest. it was just one of those experiments. Like I got a soldering iron and a 5-way switch. I think I can do that. And I probably at some point will just take it back to being a normal 3-way.
I love it. I get the odd customer that comes in and says, look what I've done to my guitar, and it's got 17 different switches, and you pull this out, and it's like, and then you do this, and you just go, man, that must just be a complete nightmare.
It's like disaster. Yeah, I've definitely been that guy. I try to keep it simple now, but I couldn't help myself. I had to try this mod out, and like I said, like it's kind of neat. Like in our set list. We do 2 songs where we just sing around a condenser microphone, and because there's a lot of there's 4-part harmony, a lot of singing in the band. So that's kind of a moment in our set list, and a lot of times, because of the nature of this guitar being so low, that when I play on the neck pickup, it's actually kind of too bassy for those moments. Yeah. So this was kind of the half, like it kind of dumps half of the low end off, and it ends up working out sort of sonically for our sound guy. He's not frantically having to high pass absolutely everything on the stage in order to get it out of the mix for those moments. So it kind of works out. But at the end of the day, it's trying to get it into the bridge position is.
And so we think this is a single coil of some sort, and so's this, and
they're kind of beefier.
Is it almost like a Gretschy kind of vibe? I'm trying to sort of. I've never really seen these pickups before.
I don't know a ton about them other than I really like kind of what they do sonically. I know that there's the people Lawler has recreated them. Mojo Tone has done some, and it's kind of like they use 40 gauge wire and there's some pretty specific stuff that goes into them.
I've never heard a guitar with Lawler pickups on it sound bad. It's like
he really knows what he's doing. Yeah, he does. But yeah, it's kind of it's thicker sounding than a single coil. But it's still kind of got the single coily kind of definition.
And what do we got? We got a sort of standard Strat tailpiece, but completely blocked off. Is that or
No.
No. Okay. So, but you just don't use it. You just.
I just don't. I mean, if the only reason why I don't use it is because I couldn't find a bar that fits in there. Otherwise,
I have a look for you before we go. I might have a spare one.
Sure. Sure. Absolutely.
What is it? Just a modern C-shaped kind of neck, or is it kind of a bit chunkier than that?
I don't know.
Oh, there's there's a V. There's
a
like
bit
a
of a V
pronounced
in there,
V on the back, isn't there? So it's more
Yeah.
like a 50s style. Oh, it's a nice guitar. And I'm a complete sucker for the scratch plate. I don't know if I'll show you before you go. I've got a HSH Strat that is a white one with like a brownie scratch plate on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to, but I found a guy in Italy still making these like old Bakelite style plastic products, and I said, "Oh, you've got to make me a scratch plate like that." And it's kind of not. Actually, no, it's not that similar to that one, but it's similar in how unusual it is.
Yeah.
So, did you say your dad made you this scratch plate?
Yeah, he did. And
has he got any more of that material? Would he make me one? You know.
Yeah, probably. I think he does actually have more of it. I'll ask him.
That would be awesome.
It's
just brilliant looking.
Yeah,
I wonder what it is.
I don't know what it is. My dad, he's also a carpenter by trade, and so being a musician and a carpenter, he builds guitars and puts together parts guitars. So he's got a stack of wacky scratch plate material, and because of the gold foils, and I'm a massive Rycooter fan. Yeah. I kind of wanted this guitar.
Are we saying, sorry, I'm not picking up your accent, gold foils?
Gold foil, yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounded a bit like GoFos, and I was
GoFos.
Thinking,
sorry, it's my Canadian gummy mouth.
No, not at all. So that's what you got to look at if you're looking for
gold
the
foil.
Gold foil pickups.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and research those when you later.
Yeah, check them out. They're in like Harmony and Teisco and sort of all those budget guitars from the '60s.
They just look awesome.
Yeah, they look great, and they're kind of expensive now, I think. But I mean, these ones came out of a pair of guitars that came into my friend's shop in Saskatoon, and the guitar just wasn't worth fixing, and the people who brought them in didn't care. They, it was like, can you fix these, or are these garbage? And he said, no, they're kind of garbage. So we just pulled the pickups out, and I think they're worth like $200 Canadian.
Wow.
So they're definitely they're a hot topic right now.
They're
gold
very,
foils,
very
at least in Canada they are. But so the story behind this is that Rycooter's guitars kind of look like fancy dress or drag queens. So I kind of had to have the drag queen material. So I called my dad and said, "What's the gaudiest stuff you got?"
I think that's fantastic.
And so that's that.
I do like that. So let's go pedalboard. You sent me a picture. You texted me a picture the other day of your pedalboard, and I was very jealous. It looked super cool. So tell us what's on the board. Which is not what we've got now, by the way, because the board, I'm guessing, is somewhere on its way to your first gig.
It's in the sky right now on its way to Glasgow.
We should say, this is how much I appreciate Joey stopping off. So what he was supposed to do today was fly overnight from Canada into London, jump on another plane, fly to Glasgow to do a gig tomorrow. But he said, no, just for you, Lee. I'll come to Guildford. I'll cancel my Glasgow flight. We'll reschedule it for later in the evening. So this is how fresh does this man look for a guy who's basically
been up all night,
who hasn't had any sleep for about 24 hours. So anyway, no. So
I'll never tell my secret.
I do appreciate you coming in. But anyway, so yeah, the pedal board that we haven't got here, but that is somewhere in the sky at the moment. What's on that?
It starts with a Dunlop volume pedal, the big heavy duty one, and then goes into Dunlop Mini Wah, which I never ever use.
We love the Dunlop Mini Wah.
It's a great pedal. Sounds great. It's totally usable. I never use it.
Just not a wah man.
I want to be so bad, and that's why it's there. But
you should do. I don't have a wah pedal, and whenever I'm jamming with Rob, whenever there's a wah and I can break it out, I'm completely useless. but I just go, I sound so cool. It's just like like, what's not to like?
It's I'm a big fan. I love a lot of players who are who are known to use them. Whenever one's on my pedal board, it just collects dust. So I actually just took it off, but not because it's not a great pedal, but just because I don't use it. And then I've got 3 pedals made by a company run by a friend of mine in Nashville called Mythos Pedals.
Yes, I saw those with the big Greek god bearded thing on the front.
That's right.
Cool.
Zeus. Or Jesus, depends on
Could be. Who knows?
who you
Yeah,
think it
you
is.
choose. Whatever.
You choose. Santa Claus.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Let's go politically correct. Let's
That's
say
right.
Santa Claus.
That's right. Some superhero. Some name is I don't know, Aquaman. So there's an Octavia clone
Yeah.
that I sort of commissioned him to make. Another pedal that I rarely ever use, but
I
I
can't
just
think
love
of a
it.
track on the album where you go all kind of octave fuzz on us.
The solo Runaway Train. There's an
Right,
octafuzz thing on there, and I don't hardly ever use it except for every now and then, and I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of that sound.
Yeah.
And so it's got a couple of little tweaks under the hood, but it's the octave sort of oscillating thing is foot switchable, so you can just go to a normal fuzz.
Right. Yeah.
Which sounds great. And then he built a Blues Breaker clone called the Daedalus.
Okay.
And then he's got a clone called the Mjolnir. I think
Wow.
They're wacky names.
The world needs another clon clone.
The world needs another
Yeah.
clone. But his is really good, and I've been using it for a couple of years now, and and then after that I've got a Strymon Mobius and a El Capt stand.
Yeah.
And the Mobius I use the trims and the rotary.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's all I use. I have an envelope
Stereo
filter.
kind of setup, or
Yeah, my pedal board is wired stereo, but oftentimes there's just not enough room on the stage for 2 amps. So I just sort of I sum it down to mono and come out one of the outputs.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
And what were you? Sorry, you said there was one. I interrupted you, and you said there was like one other thing on there, or was the El Capitan?
Oh, I've got a. No, I was just gonna say I have an envelope filter preset on.
Oh, wow.
That I only ever use when I accidentally bank up and turn it on, and then I go to play a note and it just goes, and then I realize what I've done.
You can do that Steely Dan solo from the song. I can't remember what it is now.
Yeah, I know
you know the one.
Yeah.
It's Elliot Randall one or something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you can do that.
Now I know that there has been a. You're a long time Fender. You've got an old Fender Deluxe, haven't you? Like a pre-reverb.
It's a 64 pre-reverb Deluxe that was a gift from a student of mine. And,
nice.
Yeah, it's a kind of a funky story, but
if anybody wants any lessons from me in return for a sort of reverb 64 Deluxe, I can't do it. But
come on down.
Yeah, come
Andertons
down.
music.
I'll teach you everything. Everything I know. It'll take about 15 minutes. So no, that's cool.
and it's a great amp, and it's the most reliable amp that I've had so far. That's
the problem with the old Fenders, isn't it? Is making sure that they're live up to sort of the touring rigours.
Well, yeah, and Ariel has a 65 Deluxe reverb that he used to take on the road, but doesn't because it just couldn't handle it. But mine's a tank. It just
touch wood.
Touch wood.
Find something wooden. Yeah.
But it's good. It's a really nice amp.
And you just changed, well, not changed, but you're going to be using one of these whilst you're in the UK and maybe whilst you're back in Canada again.
Yeah.
What was it that appealed kind of about that?
It's incredibly usable and it sounds amazing. It's I've been using one at home now for a few weeks, and it's everything you'd want. From 40 watts down to half a watt, it's incredibly usable. It sounds really great. It's portable, travels that's the thing with my Deluxe is that I don't want to travel with it. I don't want to fly with it. Don't really want to take it in the van anymore because it has been really good. It has been really good and really reliable. But
keep it just for a recording amp or something.
Just keep it at home. And it's an old friend, kind of want to. But the Victory stuff is fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, big fan.
So I want to, I basically want to be able to play guitar better. I'd love to be able to play guitar like you, or Pete for that matter, or pretty much everybody I've ever interviewed in a Captain Meets video. I'm kind of interested in. Do you have like routines that you go through stuff or do you just go? I'm just going to sit and noodle and see where I go, or are you a practice freak?
I'm a little bit of both. I do spend a fair amount of time working on certain things and certain concepts, but I kind of like my practice to be sort of organic and creative. So I'll set out to do something particular, and if I get sidetracked and drawn into a different direction, I just kind of go. I spend a fair amount of time working with a metronome because my time is pretty bad. Or at least it's getting better, but I've been working at it. So that's a part of my regime.
You teach me have you got a slide here, Pete?
I've got a bunch of them.
Have you got a spare slide?
Yeah, I don't know. I've got a Joey Landreth signature.
You
slide.
haven't, have you?
Hello.
What's the point of the little cutout-y bit?
So the cutout is just like a
like an extra grip thing.
Yeah, and then this is kind of where it's at. Is that it lets you actually fully move your finger, your hands open and closed, as opposed to
That's really clever.
That little sort of like.
Did you invent that?
No, that was all him. That's
yes.
yeah.
Yes, I invented that.
Yes, I did. That was folks at home. I don't know if the cameras are on, but
You
that
should
was me.
see. I think the cameras are on. Let's hope they are. I don't know that. So you said this is rock slides. They're famous, aren't they? Rock slides. They're like
They're doing okay. I mean, it's a
I'm thinking of something else.
one man operation in Washington State. But I mean, like who's using them right now? Pete Anderson. Pete Anderson
Oh
is
yeah.
using them.
Yeah.
And
Oh man, what is this?
look at that. Hey.
And that's good.
That's the
Great.
one I kinda
It's got a
use for-
terrible action, and it probably.
And then a tuning that you're not comfortable with.
And
Or maybe
strings
you are.
Probably about 800 years old.
So, well, yeah. Just finishing off on that slide, you'll have to try and hopefully this will come up in shot big enough. But it's got this really cool like recessed bit, so that because I was saying to Joey that I don't think I had the sort of the muscle strength in my little finger to play it, which actually was what I wasn't really kind of being stupid. I genuinely would feel more comfortable using the ring finger. Mm-hmm. But actually, if you use the ring finger to kind of stabilize it, it does work. So that's very cool.
Yeah, they're really well designed. There's they're pretty thin walled, and then around the very end of it, there's sort of a ring of thicker brass. So it's still got some weight on the end, some mass, but it's not 1,000,000 pounds.
So do you get a big commission every time you sell one of these?
Dozens and dozens of dollars.
Fantastic. Go and buy a Joey Landreth signature. I have no. Is this even working? What is this, Pete?
Pete, what's going on here, Pete? This is. I'm gonna need to talk to my lawyer.
Broken.
So come on. So what am I? What? I'm just an E, aren't I?
I think it's an E.
E-ish.
E-ish.
E-ish, yeah.
Yeah.
So what would be a cool slide lick to play in E-ish?
Well, I mean, okay, just pretend that this is my 12th fret. I mean, you got to do this one.
Just one fret down.
Yeah, half a step. So you just. Yeah, there you go.
I can't. Do you know what? I've got pretty good vibrato just on. You know, but that's really. I don't know. I mean, you need pretty good control, don't you, to kind of do that sort of nice without it all sounding a bit frenetic, you know. So,
Yeah. You got the right vibe. A big part of slide stuff I find for me is the muting, like, because otherwise, you know, especially like, you know, at the 12th. The strings will vibrate sympathetically behind the slide. So the third finger I use a lot for muting. Like it's always dragging behind the slide, as opposed to like it actually will.
Yes.
So that's a big part of it.
That's a really good tip because I definitely have never considered that. In fact, I'm probably not. Yeah, I'm still.
It's a little weird to get used to.
Yeah.
Like your pinky and your middle finger are just always kind of doing something together.
I wonder if I might sort of.
There's nothing wrong with the ring finger. There's a lot of great slide players that do that. Yeah.
Well, that's a cool. Teach me one other one. Well, what's a really good kind of like? You know, the blue.
What's another really good one? That's another good
Sounds
one.
so good. Just sounds.
Well, I
just-
mean, it's the V40 212, and the
You're allowed to say it. It's an
what is
Analog
it?
Man something which we don't sell, but everybody seems to love. So
It's a Boss OD1.
it's a Boss Metal Zone. It is. It's a
That's
Boss
right,
Metal
but it's
Zone.
first generation.
Joey
so-
Landreth's signature Boss Metal Zone.
Yeah, that's it. So the that lick is so that's on the third fret. Yeah, and then so my left hand is muting the bottom 3 strings. That way you're kind of free to touch them without making a bunch of noise.
You go to
So I'm just going.
an open string.
No, still
Okay.
to that 3rd fret. 2nd string, 3rd string, and then move the slide down 2 frets. Back up to the 3rd fret, and then open. And then you could also go back to the open 3rd string for kind of an Elmore James thing.
I gotta practice that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's fun.
Man, it's just so good. I'm forever kind of, with the electric guitar. I love the fact that so many genres of music are played basically on fundamentally the same instrument, the same 6 strings.
Yeah. Right.
No, that is sounding. That's killer. So you said you gave lessons. Does that do you still kind of end up having to supplement your kind of gigging income, or are you
Every
kind of
now
is the
and then.
band kind of doing okay now, bringing in enough?
The band is doing okay, but I still really enjoy to teach.
Do you do Skype lessons?
I do actually. Skype lessons available.
Yeah. I'll put a link in the descriptions below.
Yeah. Here's my home address and my phone number. But yeah, no, I really enjoy it, and I can feel like, a lot of times, if I'm working on something, you kind of only interact with music in one way if you're always just playing and practicing with a metronome, and I find that a lot of times, like, I'll just make sort of new discoveries as I'm trying to figure out a way to explain something to somebody else.
Yeah.
So I really do enjoy that from time to time.
Oh, cool, man.
Not a whole lot of time to do it, but
I'm seeing something that we really should talk about.
oh yeah,
That is a really, really pretty looking.
yeah.
I don't know, like some sort of semi-acoustic, just.
Yeah, it's kind of based loosely on a 335-esque. This is a McConnell guitar built by a dear friend of mine, Jordan McConnell in Winnipeg, and he's a master acoustic guitar builder.
There's a lot of acoustic. I'm just seeing it got rosewood back and sides here, and
Yeah, it's
spruce top,
top.
so it's very acoustic kind of.
Yeah, it's pretty wacky, and bare knuckle mules, I think.
Yeah.
Is what these are.
I'm surprised. I had you down as more of a nail bomb guy, but maybe.
Well, that's for my other band. That's kind of
It's a stunning, beautiful piece of rosewood on the fretboard there, isn't it? Really lovely.
Yeah, he's a lovely builder. Really knows what he's
I like this detail as well. Taylor do that on some of their acoustics. It's that sort of chamfered top edge,
It's a nice touch. Not something that you would necessarily think about, but once you kind of put the guitar in your lap and it's nice to not have that hard edge. But it's a very, very well thought out instrument.
And is this just a guitar that you take on tour as a backup, or are there certain songs that you always use this for? And
Yeah, certain songs. This guitar is tuned to D. Sometimes it's tuned to E, but right now I have a set of 14 to 60s on it, so it's in D. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. There's a couple of songs that I play in the set list that need humbuckers and need sort of this feel. Yeah.
Oh,
So
I love
that's
it.
pretty much it.
I'm kind of thinking that what we should do is we should say that by the time this video comes up, you should, if you're very, very lucky, have only missed the first maybe one gig on the UK tour. I'm fairly sure we won't get this video up in time to get the first one, but if we do, you start on February 27th in Glasgow, yeah?
That's right. Yep.
And you're here for how long?
We go back to North America on the 9th of March.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I know Pete and myself and Mick are all going down to see the band in Winchester on the 7th, so that's nearly the last one, but you're playing everywhere you're going down to Brighton, you're going west over to
Birmingham,
Bristol, aren't you?
yeah.
Birmingham.
Yeah, we're all. I don't know off the top of my head, but if you go to www.thebroslandreth.com,
Bros,
Bros Landreth.com, and hit the shows tab.
Yeah, I'll put a link again in the description below because you should go check it out. I think, and again, do go and see them. They're Joey's got a fantastic singing voice as well as. In fact, I meant to ask you on that. One last thing: singing and playing guitar at the same time. Are you kind of BB King-esque on that one? That it's kind of like I have to do sort of like I'll do the singing bit and then I'll do the playing bit, or do you just literally does it all come naturally and quite happy to do both?
It's actually something that I've worked on quite extensively. Like, we actually spent time practicing singing and playing at the same time because it's really hard.
What do you have to do? Do you have to make it so that you don't have to think about the lyrics and you can concentrate on the guitar, or do you have to get it to the point where you're not thinking about the guitar and you're thinking about the lyrics? Or?
So I think it definitely guitar gets sort of the short end of the stick, and I go autopilot playing wise.
So literally autopilot on the guitar. And
yeah,
I would have thought, because I've tried only ever in my bedroom. I've tried to sing and play guitar at the same time, and it's just never happening. It's never happening.
It's tough.
So
I you know what? I spent a bunch of time learning a couple Tower of Power songs,
right,
and trying to play the rhythm guitar parts and sing at the same time, and I ended up having to like transcribe the rhythms of the vocal part and of the guitar part and put them against each other and look at how they sort of subdivided each other, and that was kind of like that was. There was sort of two songs that I did that with, and that was kind of the big practice, and then everything else was like going and singing a Neil Young song was much easier.
You're talking like someone that must. Did you have quite a formal music education?
Nothing formal. I did study quite extensively at one point in my life, but I never did quite get.
Didn't do the Berkeley thing or anything like that?
No, I wanted to. I really wanted to, but I just wound up getting on the road. So I've always studied on my own. But
oh, fair enough.
Pretty geeky about that.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you over in the UK. I cannot wait to come and see the band and meet the rest of the guys. Massive good luck. I hope the
Thank you very
brilliant.
much.
I hope the UK and everywhere else in the world discovers your music. And if you love that kind of rootsy guitar bass, beautiful harmonies, if you love all that kind of stuff, please go and check the music out because it's very, very cool.
Thank you very much.
So I think with this beautiful McConnell semi-acoustic thing into this wonderful Analog Man distortion pedal and into this fantastical V40 guitar amplifier, you should play us out.
Sure. Thank you.